Well, what will she be today? Bull or bear? Ah, that's a good spin. Let's take a look here. Oh, there goes the coin behind the computer. And, oh, she threw a bear. Pretty rare. Good morning. What's up? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals and Concierge Bullion Services in lovely Lauderdale by the Sea. I've got the live Coral City cam up here in Miami. Man, it's one of my favorite cams, of course. And that's right, I did say good morning. As you know, for months and months now, I've been doing these shows in the evening. However, I do want to get back to the morning formats, and I believe I have the opportunity. I've hired some more help here, got two great new workers I hope that are going to work out really well, that have freed me up in the mornings and a little bit more during the daytime. So again, I believe I'm going to get back to doing these morning shows versus the evening shows. And the morning shows are much easier than the evening shows. I mean, working all day and then I got to get the video done. Not that I got to get the video done, but I want to get the video done. So I've got to complete all the tasks and the chores that you got to do in your working day. And then your mind's cluttered at the end of the day, and then you get your first glass of wine and you're like, boy, you're all over the place. But I have had some fun in the evening videos, but I'm going to get back to this morning format. And like I said, look at this lovely, lovely clarity out there in the Miami Coral Cam today. Not too many fish like I normally see, but look at those corals. That's a hard-brained coral. But we're not here to talk about corals. We're here to talk about gold and silver prices, what are the best deals, and things that are happening now. And an interesting video by Jim Rickards I want to talk about as well. Well, this is one of my sayings that, not my saying actually, this is one of the quotes that I've put out like multiple times in my videos over the years, not in a while though, but I think it's really, I've always got to remember this, when I see, the crooked crap that goes on out there in the commodity markets, particularly, in the silver markets that we're familiar with. But I mean, it happens in the gold market, not to the same degree. It happens in probably all the other markets. It happens in our government. So, I got to remind myself, of course the game is rigged. And there's, sometimes there's not much you can do about a rigged game, all right? But don't let that stop you. If you don't play, you can't win. You can't just drop out of life. You can't just drop out of politics, not be voting and not making wise decisions on who you vote for. You can't just not play the markets. Otherwise, you just can't survive in today's world. I mean, I guess you could. You could try to go and grow some vegetables in somewhere out in the wilderness and hunt for a living. And, that's well and fine for some people, but most of us aren't that talented to live off the land like that. Me, I'd probably, I think I'd survive so long before my coffee and my wine, anyways. But let's just remember this. Of course the game is rigged. The silver game is rigged. The gold game is rigged. The equities game is rigged. All markets are rigged somehow, some way. And down to governments and elections the same way. But don't let that stop you from trying to make a change in those things. Don't let that stop you from playing the game. And I've always said that, the best way to learn how to play a rigged game is first learn how the game is rigged. And this is what we talk about all the time. And I think, one of the important things that we've been talking about recently is Ted Butler. And Ted Butler, he just doesn't spew out conspiracy theories and stuff like this. The man is actually reading COT reports. He's been doing this for 40 years, and I know I talk about him a lot, but this ties in. Ted is, Mr. Butler is explained to us over and over and over how these games are rigged, and he's got the numbers to back it up. It's the COT reports. It's right there, and it's evident. It's the very evidence in their own reports that the CME group puts out. So, we know the game is rigged. We also know how it's rigged. We also know that it has been for 40 years now that the big commercial shorts have rigged the Comex silver markets. And we know how they do it with their short positions and how they wash out the managed money longs. It's almost like a rinse and repeat. And once you see that pattern develops, you can basically trade on that pattern. Think about this. Once you've seen silver price washed out completely by these manipulative commercial shorts, and remember, these are the people that this is where price discovery is made. This is where your spot prices come from these crooked trades in this crooked marketplace, all right? But again, it's rigged. And we all know it's rigged. And this is why I've calmed down over the years, because I've watched it. Listen, even if they don't let it roll past the $5 point. We've seen, I mean, I want to say $5, but it's really been $5 increments, you know, from a buck to $5, from $5 to $10, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. 10 was always that magical number. And then to the $15 level, between 10 and 15. 15 was a magical level. Then the magical levels seem to be in $5 increments with silver. And Mr. Butler talks about you know, the moving averages, how they use the moving averages. And again, this is valuable stuff to know. This is very valuable stuff to know because it teaches you how the game is rigged, who rigs the game. And again, if you're sitting in a card game and you're sitting in a, you know, ask any good gambler out there, professional gambler, if he knows how the game is rigged, how they're doing it, who's doing it, it instantly gives him a big advantage in the game. And that's what you guys got. You guys got a great advantage in the game with the information that and the data that we have out there. It tells you buy these lows, you know, buy the frickin' dips, as I've said in the past more crudely. Buy the frickin' dips because ultimately, you know, once they drop it down to a certain level, the rig, you know, the riggers and the manipulators in the criminal Comex market is going to just let it ride up. And usually, it's fact in the past, it's been these $5 levels, these $5 moves that we've seen. Now, there's a caveat to that. I'm going to tell you. The caveat is that maybe, perhaps, and Ted Butler believes it, and I believe it as well. And again, he's way smarter than I am on this. And I keep talking about Ted Butler because I believe he is the smartest guy in the whole world when it comes to, that's a big claim, but I'm saying it, not him, when it comes to explaining how the silver market's rigged and how the game is rigged. And this is a great lesson he's giving to everyone for free, you know, more or less. He's showing you how the game is rigged. He's showing you how to play the game now, all right? And again, any good gambler would tell you, with that kind of information, knowing how the game is rigged, who's rigging it, and all the intricacies behind that, all of a sudden it can make you a winner. And how do you win? You buy those low dips when they knock it down $5 or when they knock it down. You never know exactly when the bottom is, but you know at some point it's going to hit the bottom, bounce back up, do its $5 thing again before it gets washed out. That's been the history. But like I said, the caveat is that Ted Butler believes, and I believe that, and I didn't get to it, I'm sorry, that at some point that game is going to be up, that it's going to have to wash out to the upside. Now, when it does, will they cap it when it hits $50? Will they cap it when it hits $75? I think that's completely possible, given, again, that the CME group is not, in my opinion, honorable, and their credibility is kind of shot because they've allowed this behavior to happen all these years. So why wouldn't you expect them to try to cap it at higher prices? But perhaps we're going to move beyond that $5 move in silver, and that's what Mr. Butler's been talking about for a while. So you could trade that well, if you're buying the dips, I don't think you can get hurt at all buying silver. However, you know, selling when it hits that $5 level, that's a tough thing to say. Is the cap going to be off? Are they going to let it fly? And again, that's a good possibility and something that Mr. Butler has been waiting for quite some time. So have I, and so have you. We've been We've been waiting for that run past that $5 mark. We've been waiting for that, you know, run up to 30, 35, 40, 45, and when all of a sudden. And what would it take to do that? And what would it take them to you know, the big commercial shorts to stop doing what they're doing, or CME group just to say, hey, listen, you guys can't do this anymore, as Ted Butler believes that maybe the CME group is telling. Well, I don't know if he thinks that, but I think it's possible the CME group, besides the big commercial shorts, are saying, you know, this could really hurt us badly. You know, we could default on this silver short position. It's very possible. Let's get out of these short positions. But you know, I would think that the smart people that would do this would be the CME group, the people that own the casino. They would try to wind down these short positions, because if one of those major shorts go bad, like again the nickel situation with the LME, the London Metals Exchange, if one of those shorts go bad, they'll have to either screw their credibility by making the trade, you know, no longer by, you know, making the trade, all right, the trade's off, you know, where you don't have to honor that short position, or it would take CME group down, you know, as far as, and again, Mr. Butler points out very truthfully that the CME group has already defaulted once before, and most of us, I thought, like, my gosh, when did that happen? I don't remember this CME or the Comex defaulting before. I don't remember Comex default. But it did basically, and it happened in 2008. Lehman had one of the largest short positions in silver. They were losing massively on it. There's even suggestion that the Lehman silver short was what took Lehman down, all right? And guess who inherited that Lehman silver short, which is basically a default because, you know, they fixed it. They took the Lehman short position and they gave it to J.P. Morgan, who has rigged markets ever since. Maybe there's some inside stuff going on there. Maybe, who knows? A lot of dirty stuff out there, folks. But anyways, of course the game is rigged. Don't let that stop you. If you don't play, you can't win. And that includes everything from silver, gold, to other markets, to elections, I believe, as well. And let me go into, hey, I made this up myself. I thought this was kind of cute. One of my own quotes, which is, cream rises to the top, but occasionally and unfortunately so does scum. So, and you know, we see it, I've heard that term, cream rises to the top, and it's very true, cream does rise to the top, and especially in sports and things like that. Most sports, except swimming lately, but I'm not going to get into that. But cream does rise to the top, and that's kind of where that saying comes from. But occasionally, unfortunately, so does scum, but mostly in politics, it seems that that happens. We do have cream in politics. There's a few politicians out there, I believe, that hopefully can rise to the top one day. But as long as that the scum, is there and prevents that, again, scum does rise to the top. Just look at our system, look at our deep state, look at our government, our agencies, all right? So scum does rise to the top for sure. But you know what, so does cream, folks. And again, this is what I've been talking about. Of course things are rigged out there. Of course they are rigged out there. But you know what? You got to stand up and play. You cannot just fold back and not play anymore and just say, oh, it's rigged. I don't want, I'm going to just take my toys and go home. You can't do that. You can't do that, all right? You got to keep playing the game. And again, when you know how it's rigged, it's so much easier to beat the scum, all right? Let me move on to today's, speaking of, okay, criminal marketplaces. Let's take a look at the spot prices run by the Criminal Crimex at the CME Group in Chicago, and sunny Chicago. Is that sunny Philadelphia, I guess? All right, so I'm liking what I'm seeing right here. Again, don't forget, the manipulation we like to talk about happens for sure. I mean, we know that gold and silver markets are manipulated. There's trials going on right now in New York that tell us this. Meanwhile, the exact same people that were running the casino, the CME Group, Comex, while J.P. Morgan and all these criminals, manipulative criminals, have been charged. Why isn't the CME Group being charged in this? Why is the CME Group even allowed to operate still? And that's a good question. Why is JP even allowed to operate in the gold and precious metals markets, considering that they had been so much crooked stuff? Why hasn't some judge said, you know what, JP Morgan, you are no longer allowed to deal in precious metals? And why hasn't any regulatory group or senators or congressmen gone to the CME Group and says, listen, this is your casino, what the F? But CME Group, they don't care. It's whales. They're spending a lot of money. They make a vig off that. It's like the bookies. The bookies don't care who's making the bets, even if they're making it illegally, because they're getting their vig from it. As long as it doesn't affect them, they're cool with that. And that's how the CME Group is. They're complicit in this criminal activity. 1793.50 gold, little range there, but still we're sitting up close to that $1,800 mark. Silver, 2045 right now. Again, very range bound with silver. I'm kind of curious what we're looking at on our gold to silver ratios. Less than it was about a month ago, but let me take a look here. Probably in that 86, 87 to 1. 1,793.5 divided by 20.455 equals.
That would be approximately 87.6802.
Okay, still, the ratio is still sitting pretty high in my opinion, 87 to 88 to 1. What does that tell us? It's always told us either gold's too high or silver's too low. That's what it tells us, more or less. All right, platinum sitting in that mid-range too. Both gold and platinum and silver kind of in that midland range here for quite some time. Mid-20s, mid-900s, and gold seems to be making its move up to that 1,800 mark. It's already hit it a few times intraday, not closing, of course. As I said, you silver guys, even if you don't own gold, and platinum guys too, follow gold where gold goes. That's the older sibling. Where gold goes, the younger siblings, silver and platinum, and I call silver the middle child, the troubled child, and platinum follow, all right? So follow gold, folks. I think we're heading upwards here, and a lot of it has to do with, well, God, I want to say the economy, but really not. They're just letting, they're just letting in the Comex groups, and they're letting the price of gold and silver go up. But there is one thing, that gold is not entirely controlled by Comex group. Gold is got an international market, whereas I believe silver, all the price discovery for silver is made in the Comex group, all right, in the NYMEX and the Globex markets. As far as gold is an international market, and I don't believe that only a percentage of the gold trades in the CME group or the Comex markets. I have to look that up. If any of you know, let me know in the comment section. Let's take a look at the prices here on the chart and see. Our spikes are happening about the same time in the morning. If you take a look all week, spikes down, spikes up are happening almost within the open here, within the first hour or two of the opening right now. And here we are with the green arrow. We've seen our little spike upward on gold and then back down, doing everything they can to prevent it moving above that 1800 mark. Remember, a while back ago I talked about these psychological numbers, and they really are. Psychological numbers for silver, $5 increments typically, 10 to 15, 15 to 20. And then, and the same thing with gold, it's, well, 1850 to 1950. There's these psychological numbers that seem to be moving $50 increments in gold and 50-cent increments in the silver. What was it, 50-cent increments? So anyways, where was I going with that? They're psychological numbers. So you'll see, I mean, look at gold. Why isn't it over 1800? Why is it just like 1799, 1793, 1795? It's like those numbers are like unobtainium, you know what I'm saying? But really not. I'm sure they are psychological numbers that have to do with what Ted Butler talks about. Gosh, Ted. That's what I'm talking about. Which are, the moving averages. And this is what the technical traders, the managed money longs work off. They work off moving averages, and the commercial shorts know this. And the commercial shorts spoof and move these moving averages around or move markets around to get lower than these because they know that the technical managed money traders, that they're going to wash out, the rinse and repeat thing I'm talking about, are going to exit their positions once it's broken these averages. And that's how the big commercials rig these markets, folks. And again, if you know how the game is rigged, you can win at it. All right, let's take a look at yesterday's market. Silver did quite a bit better overall. Spike up, spike down, spike up. But again, don't be fooled to thinking that this has anything to do with a bunch of people buying silver, or $1 million, someone buying $50 million worth of silver in the retail markets. It has nothing to do with that. The price discovery, the price that you see up and down here is solely done by big banks that move these prices around up and down, especially silver, like I said. So the prices up are manipulated, folks, as well, all right? So, I know we all get happy when we see prices move up, but that's manipulated as well because they can't drive it back down without moving it up, right? This is a rinse and repeat motion in the silver market. Again, valuable lesson. Just knowing that makes you a smarter player and gives you the ability to buy the dips. And if you want, you can play trader and try to sell at the $5 highs. It's going to happen. You know it is. History shows you how they do this. And a great article by Mr. Butler. Highly recommend that you read Butler Research here. It's Butler Research LLC. He talks about this in his newest newsletter. I'm not going to go over the whole thing. We kind of touched in some areas. Nothing proprietary out of his newsletter, but moving averages on center stage. And again, Mr. Butler is clearly just pointing out that how the big commercials use these moving averages or manipulate the price of silver to go over or under these moving averages. They move the moving averages around. They're actually manipulating these moving averages, okay? So that's the big commercials, and they do it knowing that the managed money, the technical guys, are going to trade on these averages. Great lesson, and again, what does this show you? That you know how the game is rigged, okay? So if you can't win in this game knowing how the game is rigged, you got to find some easier game, all right? And there's not much game out there easier. If you're going to go to a casino and you know exactly how the game is rigged, you got all the tools you need to win, all right, or become a winner, or do better than everyone else sitting at the table. And that's exactly what we got here. So don't whine that you don't have the tools to do this, because we do. And this is why I hadn't panicked about low prices. You know, a lot of people say, Brian, why aren't you upset about? The only thing I get upset about is the crooks. I get upset about the crooks because, you know what, the credibility of a market is only as good as the people that are selling it sometimes. The credibility of silver is great. The credibility of gold is great. It has 5,000-year track record. But unfortunately, the price discovery, where the price discovery is made, it's a bunch of effing crooks, okay? But anyways, let me get into best deals, all right? Best deals are best deals. The best deals out there, we here at Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals, which is the brick and mortar store here in South Florida, we have kilos are the best deals still. Kilos, I'll beat the pants off of Atmex, JM, and SD Bullion on those particular products that we have on like products. I don't carry a lot of the overpriced crap that some of these sites carry. And there's nothing wrong with those. That's why I use them by name. I'm not afraid to say, you know, who the online competitors are for most coin dealers across the country. Not coin dealers, but bullion and coin dealers. It's those three guys, all right? They're the primary competitors. They're the big 800-pound gorillas out there, and your local dealer should be able to beat them. Here in South Florida, we can beat their prices. We can beat the prices of other dealers here in South Florida as well. So definitely come by and see us at Commercial Rare Coins. When it comes to large deals, you know, our brick and mortar is Commercial Rare Coins, but on large deals, no matter where you live in the country, we can do large deals with you. Over 100 ounces of gold or over 2,500 ounces of silver, give us a call at Concierge Bullion Services. I'll get into that in a moment, but the best deals right now still are kilo bars in the silver market. And let's just take a look at that. There they are from yesterday. I could just leave this page up here for the last 5 months now. Kilos have been the best deal out there. And again, I'll beat the prices of most anyone out there, so give us a call and or come in the store. And let's see here, Swiss kilos, what else? 1 ounce and 10 ounce bars. I've got a great deal on 1 ounce bars if you come to Commercial Rare Coins. Unfortunately, not for Concierge Bullion Services. I don't have enough to sell. We don't have 2,500 ounces left of 1 ounce bars. But for our brick and mortar here, we've got a small amount of 1 ounces still left here. That I can give you a really good price on if you're interested in it. Meanwhile, looking at the big websites out there, again, the three big gorillas out there, is their prices on, even JM, their prices on 1 ounce silvers, and JM is tied in with Sunshine Mint and Silvertown. 1 ounces are now well over $5. It tells me that someone is buying the crap out of 1 ounces, 10 ounces. They're not buying kilos. Odd. Maybe it's the rest of the Andy Scheckman deal right now is being bought up. And I don't think they're buying, maybe they're buying Eagles, maybe they're buying 90%. I'd be surprised if they did, and if they were, they'd have a hard time filling 90% and Silver Eagles right now because the premiums are just stupid again, and it wouldn't be in their best interest of their customers, you know, for a huge deal like that. You know, I'm talking about the 1 billion, the billionaire that everyone was talking about a month ago that bought into the Eagle market and the 90% and other markets, all right? We talked about that enough times, but maybe they are rebuying again, and they're not going to be able to fill that order just solely with Eagles and 90% now. They've already pretty much taken that market apart on the retail markets, that is. So maybe they're going after the 1 ounce, 10 ounce bars, and 100 ounce bars. That's why the premiums are higher. Maybe they're leaving kilos alone. Maybe that's why kilos are cheaper. But 1 ounces are just stupid money right now, over $5. But like I said, folks, I will beat the prices of the three big gorillas out there and the local guys down here. And if you live in South Florida, man, you're lucky because you can come by our store, Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals. And as I said, if you don't live in South Florida and you can't visit our store, we do have a minimum with Concierge Bullion Services. That's our out of state, where we can deal with people that don't live in the area. But that's again 100 ounce minimum on gold and a 2,500 ounce minimum on silver. All right, what's the best deals in gold out there? Still gold bars, man. We ran out of them real quick last week. We sold a crap load of gold bars. I never run out of them, but we sold a bunch here at Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals. And again, Concierge Bullion Services never runs out of metal either because it's larger deals and we're just kind of placing orders for those deals for you. But I digress. We ran out at Commercial Rare Coins, our brick and mortar, of 1 ounces, and I hope they're coming in today. Kind of weird, just don't run out of those. But They're still the cheapest out there, and so is. I would say Krugerrands are the next best deal, and maybe the Austrian Philharmonics. Eagles are still in that, I think, that mid 150 range, 160 range. So are Buffaloes, and again, that might be a result of, like I said, this billionaire Sheckman deal. They said they were going to buy some more stuff, and if you take them at face value, this could be a result of them still out there buying. That's why gold eagle prices are high, Buffaloes are high, because they wanted to buy American gold. I'm not sure, again, I would hope that they would stay away from the high premium products, and I think maybe they are, because again, the lower price premium products are starting to go up, except for the Swiss bars, the gold bars for some reason. So, but all the American-made products, including the generics now, premiums have gone up substantially, including 100-ounce bars. 1,000-ounce bar premiums have gone up. This tells me that there's some big retail buyers out there in silver right now, because again, 1,000-ounce bars are the canary in the gold mine when it comes to prices, retail prices of silver, and they're up as well right now. So there are some big retail buyers out there. Is it the billionaire buyer combined with all the buyers are out there normally? Possibly, don't know, but there is big demand for it. All right, I'm going to get into Jim Rickard's video here. I like Jim Rickard's, and this is something I was thinking, oh man, is this like, but Jim Rickard's doesn't spin conspiracy theories. Biden orders US dollar replaced with trackable spyware version, and I said, no, really? This seems, again, this is more Alex Jones territory, typically. But anyway, take a listen to this.
You'll see what this could mean for you and your life savings.
Oh, hang on a second. I'm going to do a quick refresh of that page. I think I started to watch a little bit of it. Here we go. We're going to click that, and let me turn it up for you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me for today's talk. There's an urgent situation unfolding in America, and today I'll unveil all the unnerving details.
I'm going to listen to this
so
for a minute
let's
and not
get started
comment.
with a critical question. Where were you on March 9th, 2022, when President Biden signed the death warrant on American freedom? On that day, in a hush ceremony at the White House, without the approval of Congress, the states, or the American people, Biden signed into law Executive Order 14067. Buried in his order are a few paragraphs titled Section 4. The language in Section 4 makes Order 14067 the most treacherous act by a sitting president in the history of our republic.
And I'm still with you here, folks.
Because Section 4 sets the stage for legal government surveillance of all U.S. citizens, total control over your bank accounts and purchases, and the ability to silence all dissenting voices for good.
All right. I could go further into Jim Rickard's video here, and this, you can look at here and go directly to it if you like. Now, I know Mr. Rickards is trying to sell a newsletter here, but this is kind of troubling, and I always do my own research, even if it's people that I trust and I think they're telling the truth and I believe have good intentions. I still fact check for myself. So I went and kind of fact checked a little bit here, and I want to show you something here. That executive order that he did sign is indeed a fact. And let me read something here, and this is what Mr. Rickards is talking about, and we've been talking about it quite some time, that they're trying to roll in a cashless society. Once governments roll in a cashless society where everything is digitized, you're screwed, folks. They can take your money away from you. Look what the Canadian government did with the payments to the truckers, all right? Look what, and no one thought they could do that to digital assets, but they did, and look what, for example, that if you say something that the government doesn't like, will they take away your Social Security, cut your payments off, or whatever? I mean, this is really, folks, this is happening, man. And I got to tell you, we got to reject the digital currencies. You have to reject them, period, especially any of them that are centralized forms of government payment, or what they're going to call government currency. And I've said it for quite some time. I believe they're going to roll out the digital currencies in some type of emergency fashion, and it'll mostly probably be done for the poor people and stuff, or people on welfare. All of a sudden they'll say, oh man, or some kind of stimulus thing where, hey, you want some money? Yeah, I want money. Everybody wants money. Okay, but if we give you this money, you got to accept it in digital. All right, you got to have a digital account. Sure, it's free money. I'll take it. This is what most people are going to do when offered free money. And again, it won't, it's nothing free, folks. There's always strings behind everything. But I think they're going to roll it out with welfare. I think they're going to roll it out on an emergency basis and a stimulus basis and tell people, listen, we're going to help you, but you got to take it in digital. And the only way you can take it in digital is if you open up a government digital account. And you're screwed at that point, folks. I think if they go to digital currencies, if there is, and it probably might try to do it, if there's ever digital currencies made by the government, central government digital currencies or dollars or whatever, I'm going to refuse to take them in my store. There'll be a transition period, but I think if most of America refuses to take them and deal with them, that idea will go bust. Similar to what happened in China that tried to force it in a certain region and went bust. Nobody wanted it. But we need to do the same thing here. Let me read this. This is the act that we were just talking about, Jim Rickards was talking about. The United States has an interest in ensuring that it remains at the forefront of responsible development and design of digital assets and the technology that underpins new forms of payments and capital flows in the international financial system, particularly in setting standards that promote, look at this. Ready? Here's your key right here. Particular in setting standards that promote democratic values, the rule of law, privacy, privacy, my ass, the protection of consumers, my ass, investors and businesses, and interoperability. Here's the key, democratic values. So what does this really mean? That they're going to create a currency that has, I don't get that. Democratic values, does that mean that if you don't have democratic values, you won't get paid? More than likely, but let's move along from here. And interoperability with digital platforms, the legacy architecture, the international payment system. The United States derives significant economic, and this is an important statement too here, ready? Something that they don't talk about much. The United States derives significant economic and national security benefits from the central role that the United States dollar and United States financial markets play in the global finance system. Folks, they just outright here admitted that the US dollar is a ploy to just be the top dog. All right. Now I used to think that how you built the greatest. There's two ways to have the tallest building in the world. There's two ways to have the grandest and most tallest and the best building in the world. One is to build yours up higher than everyone else's. This is what I thought the United States was about, not with just the dollar, but with our country in general, is that we built ours higher than everyone else. Everyone wanted to emulate us. But that's not what's happening now. We have used the dollar as a weapon, not as a goal for other countries to make a strong dollar that's not used as a weapon against other people, other countries. A currency that everyone wants to use, good for all peoples, all right? They've weaponized the dollar. They pretty much killed that. All right, but I'll start to digress if I go on from here. That the United States, but they outright admit here that that they're willing to start a war, whether it's an economic war or whether it's a real fighting war, just to keep the national security benefits of the central role. The dollar is now become national security. The Federal Reserve's fiat dollar now is national security, which tells you that they can create wars over the U.S. dollar, and they have, and they are continuing to do that. Continued United States leadership in the global financial system will sustain United States financial power and promote United States economic interests. All they're talking about is trying to sustain their crooked effing empire, folks. Continue United States leadership, my ass. Continue United States dictatorship in the global financial system will sustain, I'm just changing some word, will sustain United States we sustain the empire of the United States and promote United States economic interests at the expense of others. That's what I want to say. Anyway, you can read this yourself. Jim Rickards is correct, man. The president did sign this. Who the hell knew? Executive order on who reads this shit, right? And then all of a sudden we all wake up. Who reads it? I do. I just gave it to you. You read it. You pass this along. You pass along what Jim Rickards says. Jim Rickards is a millionaire. He doesn't have to tell us this stuff. And again, data and information and truth is important. Why? Because it tells you how the game is rigged and who's rigging the game. That's what Jim Rickards just showed us. This is what Ted Butler shows us. We're being showed the way, folks. We're being showed how these games are rigged, and it's up to us to continue to play and not take our toys home. You know what I mean? So here you go. Read this. Pretty good stuff. And again, it affects the price of gold and silver as well, folks. At what point do they just say that you can't buy gold and silver unless you do it through central bank digital currencies? This way they know every ounce of gold and silver that you own. But that's really what they want with central currencies. They want to be able to turn you off if they don't agree with you. Turn your money off, all right? Turn you into a pauper if you disagree with their narrative, all right, or what they say. Folks, there's some evil people. The cream for the last 30, 40 years since I've been, since I've grown up, like I said here, the cream has not risen to the top in Washington, D.C. Unfortunately, the scum has, okay? Anyway, my opinion, sticking with it. And gonna go over yesterday's video, last night's video. Man, again, I gotta get over, these evening videos are killing me. I'm just like, by the time I get done with work, I'm tired and then I'm hungry. All right, I'm not going to complain about evening videos. I'm glad I got this one done today, though. Using Silver Eagles 90% for coins and money and barter. In my own way, in my evening way, I explained last night why you are never going to use gold and silver for barter. I'm going to go sort by, let's see here, newest first, and there we go. I'm going to go to the bottom here and start answering. Folks, I don't always get the chance to answer my videos, but I'd like to thank everyone that makes comments out here. Linda, talking about fish, yeah, love it. Thanks, Mike P. Bradley Kaiser says, you're not happy when it's going up, not happy when it's going down. This market is not going to stay at one price, only go up. I really don't get the thought process. I don't know, Bradley, you got to kind of watch my videos a little bit more and you'll get the thought processes. You'll see where I'm going with all this stuff. Thanks for watching and commenting as well. What's up, Michael? Jay Scarnucci. First off, 10 minutes of platter before you get the content title Z. Secondly, I am amazingly historically ignorant. No one used a gold and silver bar in a couple hundred years. And that's true. That's true. That's still true. You kind of got your thought processes. Your thought processes are a little bit out of order there, Mr. Scarnucci. No one used gold and silver bar in a couple hundred years. That's absolutely true. I didn't say no one did. I said it's very seldom did anyone use, especially in inflationary Germany, did anyone use gold and silver just to directly buy bread or from the local merchant, like chipped off a piece of their gold bullion bar. And I did point out that, yes, we did use gold and silver the last 100, 200 years, but it was money. It was money, not bullion. It was money. All right, so big difference there. When gold and silver was money, we did use it, and we didn't have that many problems with inflation. That money kind of held up on its own. But when we got out of, when we got to a fiat dollar, no. And we're in a fiat process right now. We're not in the gold process. And the idea that you're going to take gold and silver and go, when the economic system, when and if it falls apart, and it is, and it will, but it's not going to look like most of you think it is. A lot of people that believe they're going to use this stuff for trade watch too many Kevin Costner movies or too many I can't think of the guy's name that did those movies in Australia. Oh gosh, this is what happens when you get old. Anyways, gosh, in the Dennis Hopper movie, what was it? Anyways, all right, I'll get over that. But it's not going to look like that, like the Postman. It's not going to look like that. You're not going to be little tribes of trading people. I'll trade you a couple beaver skin hats for your gold coins. It's not going to happen. We're going to eat each other before that happens. Trust me. There's too many people out there. And the other thing too is, even in the inflationary Germany period, they were still using marks. They were still, even though it took a wheelbarrow full of marks versus 1 mark to buy a loaf of bread, they were still using marks. And the people that had gold and silver back then, they were doing much, much better than the guys just had marks, because marks were being devalued. Gold and silver was holding its own value. And they would take their gold and silver, which at one time would buy 10 marks before the inflationary period. Then their gold and silver bar would buy 500 million marks, okay? Who did better? And this is what I'm talking about. So you got it all wrong there, Mr. Scarnucci. Thanks for watching. Have yourself a great day. Kim says the FedEx, Primex, and LMD are our organized consortium keep price. Yeah, very true. Rose, and again, this is what I've been talking about here, Kim, is that we know how the game is rigged. And if you know how the game is rigged, you become a much better player. Keep playing. Don't quit. Dario says, to be honest with you, the silver price I moved to numismatic but still stacking gold. I can't agree with that. All markets are rigged. And if you don't think the numismatic market is rigged, let me do some videos for you. Rigged markets, numismatics, man, you're going from one frying pan to another there, sir. But anyway, numismatics, again, I don't want you to get discouraged. all games are rigged, pretty much. Somehow there are riggers out there to some degree. And I don't want to make it sound, numismatics is probably far less rigged than the commodities markets, but all markets are kind of rigged and manipulated to some degree. What's hot, what's not in numismatics. I can talk about that someday. I'm going to talk about, one day I'll tell you a story about a gentleman I knew that actually created markets in numismatics, created markets where people would spend billions in these particular markets that he created. Interesting story. And I'm actually give you the guy's name because he's one of my mentors, is Robert L. Lessey. One day I'll tell some stories about how he created markets, particularly the modern market. Bull or bear, modern command market. Bull or bear, I see fish. Gary Biggs, trading with gold with hitching, but doesn't mean it won't come back in certain places. Some online now accept Bitcoin's payment. We just need to make things happen again. Yeah, sure, Gary, I agree with that. You can use junk silver to barter in the black market when the Federal Reserve phases and central bank digital currencies. It may be in the black market you can. I can consider that. Underground markets, trade this service for that, trade your silver for this service, that service on a small scale. But the vast majority of the public are going to be stuck with central bank digital currencies or the current fiat dollar in its current situation, which keeps losing its value. Veteran Prepper said, barter's trade. Today we trade precious metals for trade. That's kind of an interesting to look for at Veteran Prepper. Thanks for commenting. Silver Loving Loose says, thanks, Brian. Keep stacking. You be well too, Welco. None your business says, that's the problem with government. They don't care about people's happiness. They would rather hire, man, you guys are nailing it today. You really are. Thanks for watching. None your business. Like that title too. None your business. Blackie says, I have to agree with you. Thank you. Zipper Fix, how you doing? And, again, I'm not saying that there's barter today. There has been barter for years and years and years. There's been barter when the economy was good. There's always going to be barter. But my example here is that the economy is going to collapse and that these guys are going to take their 90% silver dimes and their quarters and halves and their silver eagles and run down to the local merchants and they're going to throw it in a scale and then give you some toilet paper, a couple gallons of laundry detergent, and a pack of chicken. It ain't going to happen, man. You're going to have to buy fiat somehow, and you're going to use your gold and silver to buy fiat, like I said. But I like barter. I think barter is cool. I wish I could do more barter. Russ, Rena is in the Andes. Wonderful, cool, man. Are you climbing mountains or doing business or a little bit of both? That's pretty cool, man. Do you envision projects being able to exchange U.S. government junk silver coins for wheelbarrows or fiat? No, I don't. I really don't. I continue to see dealers, and then as Zipperfix says here, or something, black. Who is it? None of your business says there's going to be a black market as well. There's a black market out there today. There'll be a black market today. Again, I can circumvent, just like someone said, I can, Zipperfix said I can trade my mechanic for metals. You can circumvent the entire thing. Even today, you can circumvent taxes and all that stuff. I'm not saying you should do it. I'm not advising it, but you can do it through barter. You know what I mean? Sales tax and the whole thing. Fuck, who's going to know? Nobody, all right? Anyways, there's nothing, a commodity's changing hands. There's no cash or there's no traceable anything there in barter. So that's the beauty of barter. I got to admit, I do love barter. I'm just saying in yesterday's video that it's not going to be the Kevin Costner type world like the Postman where we're going to be bartering a beaver skin hat and a jackrabbit fur coat for a 1/10 ounce gold eagle. It's just not going to happen. Well, I mean, on a wide scale, on a large scale. Trump, I'm sure there's some guy out there trading 10th ounce eagles for beaver skin hats right now. So it's got to be happening. There's a billion people out there. Trump won. Oh, boy, that just got my algos by saying that. I was just saying the name. Just saying that name. I wasn't, so YouTube, don't mistaken that for me saying anything. But I do like it. Never forget, we do have Overseeing Incorporated is in bankruptcy. I don't know. I don't think we have a legitimate that right there. I don't believe that at all. I believe that we have a legitimate constitution. That's what I would say. We have a legitimate constitution, a legitimate hierarchy of government set up. The Republican form of government, which I think, it's not perfect, but it works as good as any. And I just think that the people that we have operating in all these agencies, these alphabets, have screwed the whole country up, have screwed the whole government up completely. So there you go. I think we need to get back to a very small federal government, very small, cut out all these agencies, let the states handle everything. Give the money, this federal government money, give all the money they're stealing from every state and every person, give it back to the states, give it back to the people, let them decide what to do. If one state sucks really bad, people will move out of that state like they are right now. Like people moving out of the blue states up north, moving to Florida. Why? Because the blue states suck. All right? That's the way it should be, competition among states. And all of a sudden, the blue states start looking, oh man, that state's doing better than we are, wonder why. Well, I know why, because you're screwing their people. Once you stop screwing your people, people come back to your state, your tax base picks up. You get a bigger tax base. Well, anyways, I'm going to move on here. Thanks, appreciate the comment there, even my parents. Silver's heading for more industrial use. It's always been industrial use to compensate the bachelor minister. We have to push, yeah, that's true, they'll try, but I don't think it's going to happen. Silver is money as well. Gold and silver have been money for 5,000 years. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. Cool title too, by the way. I like your name. North America hates. Yeah, no, the North American criminals, the North American scum hate gold and silver. That's who hates gold and silver. Good, solid, honest citizens that believe in the Constitution, they don't hate gold and silver. Good, honest corporations and companies that believe in the Constitution, they don't like gold and silver. Just the scum does. The scum that's risen to the top for the last 50 years. Let's see. However, at any point in history have we been headed for a purification? It's just a large number out there might expect. There's definitely a growing silver movement. Yep, for sure. Absolutely, Tone. No doubt there. Celeste says, what if gold and silver skyrocket some incredible numbers, says 15K? Well, if that happens, Celeste, I think we're going to see a dollar that, again, it's going to take a wheelbarrow full of dollars to buy a loaf of bread. I think with that, only way I can see 15K and, wow, 250,000? Hold on, for gold, 15K for gold and $250 for silver. Well, that's not too bad. I thought you were saying 15K silver. I don't think $250 silver is out of the question on at the epic part of a bull market here. I mean, maybe that's where silver really should be. I don't know. The fundamentals have been so screwed up by the big commercial crooks for so long. I don't know. And gold the same way. Is it impossible gold to hit 15K? I don't think so. But again, for 40, 50 years, for so many years now, since we've been off the gold standard, they've been screwing with these markets so badly you really don't know what the real market should be. That's my opinion, at least. And if gold and silver goes up, this is the reason that you would buy smaller coins and bars. And I always say that you should have some, because what if you want to sell some silver and you have a 100-ounce bar and silver's at 250? Do you really want to sell, a $25,000 silver bar when you only need $1,000? No, that's the advantage of having the smaller coins and bars, but you are paying a premium for it now. Thank you, Bojo. Thank you, Celtic Knot. Appreciate your comments. And Joe McDonald says, I had the best comment of my life Joe. Well, actually, Joe, I got to tell you guys something. As much as I'd love to read every comment, sometimes I can't. Last night, I work all day, and then I didn't eat yet, and it's 6:30. I'm trying to do a video, and these videos take me a little while to make, and sometimes I speed through them, and sometimes I get so many comments. Not today, not last night, but so many times I get so many comments, it's just hard to answer them. But thanks for commenting, Joe McDonald. And I tell you what I'm going to do just for you. Ready? Let's go to yesterday and see what Joe was talking about. Joe, where are we? Brian, there we go. Joe McDonald. All right, here we go, Joe.
If you want to eat healthy and feel your bet.
Yeah, don't buy that shit. Oh, hang on a second. Where we go? All right, there we go. That was yesterday's video. And Joe, let's see here. Was that yesterday's video? No, that wasn't yesterday's video. Hang on a second. Where's yesterday's video? There it is. Okay. And let me pause that real quick. Joe McDonald, I'm doing this for you. Look, I just linked in this whole video for Joe, just so I can see. Where's Joe's comment? All right, Joe, you said you made it. There you go. You didn't say it twice, did you? Am I reading the same thing twice here? Hang on one second. Or are you talking about this video the other day? Let me see. I get a little confused myself. Let's see, Joe. Okay, Joe says, when someone comes to my bakery and says I can make it at home cheaper, is that your comment, dude? Well, I know massholes. I know massholes. I got family up in that area. So thanks for watching, Joe, and I appreciate that. And your comment got read, but don't expect it again. I'm just kidding. Like I said, I can't always answer comment, folks. Wish I could. And I'm going to end this video with, in this morning video, thanks for watching this morning, folks. Think for yourself, question authority. You know my whole routine on that. I'm not going to spiel it right now. You can watch the last 100 videos if you want to know why. This is Brian Kuzmar with Concierge Bullion Services in beautiful South Florida. If you live anywhere in the country and you're buying more than 100 ounces of gold and more than 2,500 ounces of silver, please call me at 954-302-2046. And again, anywhere in the country, anywhere in South Florida. If you don't live in South Florida, unfortunately, well, I got ahead of myself here. And here's Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals, my brick and mortar. This is our 10 to 4, Mondays through Fridays. So I have a full staff here. You can come in and buy 1 ounce, and you can buy a million ounces if you want, of whatever you want. But again, this is a brick and mortar only. We don't do any phone sales. The only phone sales we do is with Concierge Bullion Services. Unfortunately, we do have a minimum on that. But again, like I said, if you live in South Florida or you're visiting South Florida, please come see us at Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals, our brick and mortar. And if you live in South Florida and you're wondering about prices, what the best deals are, call us anytime at 954-493-8811. And we're happy to help you out. If you're buying less than 2,500 ounces of silver and less than 100 ounces of gold and you don't live in South Florida, I still recommend that you find yourself a local dealer until I can figure out how to set this business up to do that. Hey, thanks again for watching, folks. Really appreciate it, and it's good to be back on the morning schedule. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye now.